Hey guys, most of what I like to talk about on this channel is music production, but I also have a really strong interest in leading a healthy lifestyle and feeling inspired and vibrant because that feeds into my music. And I'm going to do a little video today on things that we put into our body. And this is going to be one of probably quite a few videos where I talk about with myself and with other people as well, what we feel best supports our creativity as musicians as far as the food and drink and things like that we put into our systems. And a while ago I published a video on matcha lattes, Japanese high-end green tea, because I wanted to show you guys an alternative to coffee. I have a lot of students that I work with that are coming into the studio and they're slamming coffee after coffee, or even worse, they're drinking Red Bull or other energy drinks. And that stuff is just brutal on your system. It may give you a kick. Like, I like caffeine just as much as the next person. Caffeine, I find, gives me access to a lot of creativity. Plus, it just gets me in a high vibe where I'm like dancing in my chair writing tunes, and that's a great vibe to be writing music in. I'm all about that. But there's a lot of healthier sources of caffeine than drinking coffee and energy drinks. So yeah, I wanted to show you guys today a recipe that I make for chai tea. Chai tea I love because it has the same like body and warmth to it that coffee does. It's not like drinking just straight out green tea that's kind of like thin and watery. And I find if you're trying to make the transition from coffee, or if you're looking for something that's like really flavorful, like you know, like an energy drink, then you can turn to this as a great recipe. Actually, last summer when I went out and started touring some festivals, I really wanted to party stone cold sober. It was the first year I've done that. I didn't drink at all. I didn't want to do any drugs to stay up late, anything like that. I just wanted to be totally clean. And in order to do that, I took a whole big batch of homemade chai tea with me that I chilled and drank out of water bottles. And I shut the party down. I was there still dancing at like 6, 7 in the morning. And it was amazing. And I felt great when I woke up the next day. I had tons of energy, and it's totally sustainable. So let's get into chai tea. Chai tea is an Indian recipe. It's a famous, long-standing drink. And rather than just getting like those crappy little chai tea packets in the stores and steeping that with water, which isn't really chai tea, I like making it from scratch. It's not too hard. Basically, it revolves around 5 spices: cinnamon, nutmeg, cardamom, coriander, and cloves. And then usually, traditionally, chai tea is made with milk and black tea. But I don't like dairy. I try and be vegan wherever possible. And milk, actually, and dairy, we know is pretty bad for us. So I substitute almond milk. Almond milk is great, super healthy. You can get it at most any stores around the world. And I use almond milk, unsweetened regular almond milk, instead of milk. It has the same body to it that dairy does. And instead of black tea, I mean, sometimes I use black tea. Like, this stuff is black tea. It's great. It's like a nice high-end black tea. But black tea has still quite a bit of caffeine in it. And it's, you know, it's not as bad as coffee, but it's not super great for you either. So instead, I actually substitute in green tea, and I get a nice loose Japanese green tea. And I use green tea instead of the black tea because green tea has a whole bunch of other health benefits like antioxidants, speeds up your metabolism and things like that, and still has caffeine in it. So I do those. I use the 5 basic spices, but I also add in a couple of extra things. I like to make my chai tea really, really spicy, super spicy. So I put in extra black peppercorns, and I also put in fresh ginger. Ginger is an amazing natural remedy. It's an anti-inflammatory. It's basically just helps add heat through your system, kind of like a jalapeno or garlic. It's good to put heat through your system. And in general, just it's an amazing health food. So I slice up a whole bunch of fresh ginger and put that in the chai tea as well. So let's just go over quantities. Basically, what I do for quantities is I put in maybe 20 to 20, well, let's first of all talk. I'm using 2 liters of almond milk. So I'm using 2 liters of almond milk, and for that, I use about 20 to 25 pods of cardamom. I use maybe 1.5 tablespoons of coriander. I use 2, I don't even know what these things are called, pods, nuts of nutmeg. two of these little balls of nutmeg. And I use whole cinnamon. I use cinnamon sticks. And for the cinnamon sticks, I usually use 4 or 5 of those. I use about 2 tablespoons of cloves, and then Bob's your uncle. You're ready to go. Maybe a tablespoon or 2 tablespoons of the black pepper, and if you want to use the ginger, I use a piece of ginger about the size of my thumb, and I slice that up really fine. And once you guys get that all teed up and in a pot, it should look a little something like this. And then I fire the almond milk in there. And because you're heating it over time, you probably want to add in a little bit of water as well, because it's going to be evaporating some of the water out of the almond milk. So I add maybe, I don't know, half a cup or so, or a cup of water in addition. All right, so once you get everything in here in the pot, you want to bring it over kind of medium-high heat, just to a simmer. You don't want to let this stuff boil, because it'll boil over, and you don't want to nuke all the ingredients like that. But basically just bring it to a simmer and let it simmer probably for, I don't know, I let mine go pretty long, probably at least half an hour, maybe an hour. And then the final step is to sweeten it. And I like to use all natural sweeteners. I have agave syrup here. You could use honey, and basically just sweeten it to taste. And there you have your chai tea. You know, that's the basic recipe. From there, you can actually add different flavors. You can make a chocolate chai by using raw cacao powder. And cacao is where chocolate comes from. It's not cocoa, by the way. Cocoa is a different thing. It's what they make hot chocolate with. It's cacao. You can make a chocolate chai with cacao. I sometimes use lemongrass in mine. That's part of a recipe that's amazing, is to soak some lemongrass in there too. Or lately I've been making vanilla chai with a whole raw vanilla bean. Or sometimes I even put star anise in there as well. So there's a bunch of different flavors that you can make, and this stuff keeps really well. Like, I keep it in the fridge for 4 or 5 days, and I just warm it up or drink it chilled whenever I'm going to hit the studio, and I find I have way more energy. I feel healthier afterwards. I don't crash from a huge caffeine come down. I don't get, you know, indigestion in my stomach from putting all these nasty chemicals or acidic coffee in my belly. And at the end of the day, it's great. Also, it's something I love to bring out to parties and just share with friends and stuff like that. So it's a super healthy, amazing, flavorful drink, and wanted to share that with you guys. So as you're thinking about maybe reaching for a coffee or an energy drink next time, write down this recipe and check it out. And I hope you guys whip up a nice, juicy batch of chai tea. Get all jacked on that and write some great beats. Talk to you soon, guys. Cheers.